Today for our math lesson, we're going to look at some place value things both in decimal and whole numbers. Okay, so to indicate a decimal point, you need this naming decimals paper, you need ordering decimals, and then we're also going to do some word problems today. So those are the 3 pages you need. Okay, to indicate a decimal point, say or write the word and. Read the decimal part as a regular number and add the place value that the last digit is at the end. So here we have a little bit of a place value chart. Our decimal, whole numbers, ones, tens, hundreds, and then we're really looking at these decimals today. Tenths, hundredths, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, okay? So whatever the decimal number is, just as a reminder, we name the decimal and then stick the place value on the end. So for example, let's say that I had the number 7 point, can you guys see that? 7.73. Okay, so if I was going to read this number, I would say my whole number, 7, and I say this number, 73, and then what's the place value? Hundredths. So this is 7 and 73 hundredths. Let's say I have the number okay, so here's my number, 4. All right, so I would say this number 81, and then what's this number? 814. What's the place value? Thousands. So 81 and 814 thousandths. All right, so we're going to practice that. We have 3 different numbers that get harder each time. All right, the first number, okay, we're going to actually write the words for this. So we read the whole number first, 5. We put the decimal as and then let's read the second part of the number. What number is that? 67. What's the place value of the second number after the decimal? Decimal, second number is hundredths. Make sure you don't do hundreds, it's hundredths. Okay? See if you can do this one on your own, number 2. And we're going to look at number 3 together because that's definitely the hardest one. Okay, so there is no whole number. We don't need to put any whole number. We don't put 0 and. We don't need to even name the decimal. So on this third example, we're only going to name the decimal. So if we just had those 5 numbers, what would it be? Okay, imagine that's a whole number right there. There's a comma. Right? So this would be 78 thousand, comma, and then what's that part? 22. And then what's the place value of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th number after the decimal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 100,000. 100 and then thousandths. 100 thousandths. Okay, so go ahead, make sure you have number 2 on your own, and then let's flip the page. We are now going to compare some different decimals. Okay, so this is what we're working on now, comparing. Sorry about my notes. Okay, so now we are going to compare numbers based on their place values and their values based on their places so we're going to use the comparison symbols. Remember that we read it from the left to the right. So on this symbol, the little side is first, so it's less than. The big side is first on this one, so it's greater than or equal. All right, some of these are pretty easy, like this one. 3/10 or 8/10? Which one is bigger? Which one is closer towards 1 or a whole number? So we would read it. 3/10 is less than 8/10. Okay, here's another one. We can obviously see, look at the whole numbers. Okay, you guys do that one. How about this one? What do we know about this 0? It's an extra 0, so we can cross it off. Can you compare those two numbers now? I hope so. All right. What about this one? This one says this number is 4 hundredths and 4 thousandths. Which number is bigger, 4 hundredths or 4 thousandths? Now you might think, well, 400 is bigger than 4,000. Or 400 is bigger, hundreds is bigger. Sorry, 4,000. There we go. You might think 4,000 is bigger than 400. Think about it like this, though. This is part of a whole number. So if you had a piece of pie and you split it up, okay, and you had to split it up 100 times or split it up 1,000 times, or you had to share a bag of candy with 100 people, or you shared a bag of candy with 1,000 people. If you shared a bag of candy, the same bag of candy with 100 people, you would get more pieces of candy, right? And if you had to share that same bag of candy with 1,000 people, you would get less candy, okay? So, with our decimals, that's going to be 100ths. It's bigger, it is closer towards a whole number than 1,000th, all right? So go ahead and finish those ones up. And then you're going to put these decimals in order from least to greatest. You guys can do this one. I'll help you with the bottom one. That one's a more challenging one, huh? Okay, so when we order our decimals, we're going to look at the place values. So there are no whole numbers. So we're now going to look at the tenths places. Okay, we're looking at from the least to the greatest. So which one's the least? 9, 0, 8, or 0? The zeros are smallest, right? So let's look at the zeros. We have these two numbers. We have 9 hundredths and 899. Whoa, tenths, hundredths, thousands, 10,000s. That's a big decimal, okay? So let's look at the next digit. Which one is smaller, 9 or 8? It's pretty crazy to think that even though this number has more digits, it's actually smaller than this one. So our smallest number out of these four is 899 10,000ths. We've done this number. So again, let's look at the tenths. We have 9, 0, and 8. We still have a 0. That's going to be our next smallest number. That one's done. And then we have 99 hundredths or 89 hundredths. So we know 89 hundredths is smaller and 99 hundredths is bigger. All right, so make sure you finish those last couple problems on this page. We're going to move on to the last thing, which is your word problems today. So I have this paper. It has a bunch of numbers on one side, and it has some problems on the other. So we're going to start on the problem side. Okay, and then you'll notice that there is a question, there's an answer spot, and there's a coloring spot. All right, so we're going to figure out this answer to this problem and then color in the numbers on the other page that correspond with it, all right? So the first question says the library just received 823 new books on Monday. 312 of the new books were checked out. On Tuesday, 129 books were returned and 272 were checked out. How many new books are available for checking out on Wednesday? Okay, so this is a multiple part problem. We're dealing with some place values. Yes, they're a little bit different because they're not decimals, but we're still doing place value practice today. So we first started with 823 books. On Monday, 312 books were checked out. Okay, this is the first part of the problem. So 3 minus 2, 2 minus 1, 8 minus 3. So Tuesday morning, we're looking at 511 books. Now it says on Tuesday that 129 books were returned. Okay, so we had 511, and they brought back 129 books. So how many books do I have now? All right, so I should have 640 books left. How many books were checked out? 272 books were checked out of the library. Let's go ahead and do this problem. 10 minus 2, 13 minus 7. All right, so I should have on Wednesday 368 books to choose from at the library. All right, so I'm going to now put that in my answer column. All right, now 368 is going to be blue. So on my answer, my number page, I'm looking for the numbers 368. I'm going to color all of those blue. So I find 368 and I color in those boxes blue. Find all the 368s. Okay? When I have done that, and I've colored all these in, not just color them in, okay? I'm just trying to show you how to do it. And then you're going to go back to the next problem and do the next problem. And this next problem, you color that number in yellow. And then you're going to color in the next answer orange. So when you're all done, you'll have these questions answered, and you'll have a beautiful spring picture. All right? Go ahead and give this a try, and if you need help, please give me a call.